What's up, folks? I'm Dwayne,
I'm Alicia.
and this is Blackboard Gaming, where we teach you about all these great board games that are out there.
Waiting to be played by you and yours.
I'm a simple man, don't wanna complication. Complication.
Hey, everybody! Last weekend was a very busy weekend for Alicia.
I had the privilege of going to St. Louis to attend the National Council of History Education Conference. It was amazing.
Yep, and then when she got back, we ended up having a lot of family in town because we celebrated her mom's 80th birthday.
So, happy birthday once again, Mommy.
And it was fun. So today we're back on schedule, and so let's go for it and get right into the subject of this video. So a couple weeks ago we talked about board games with unique themes, and one of the games we talked about was a tile placement board game where you take on the role of a parking attendant. It was called Overparked. So after that video, I asked Alicia, do you think you could come up with a list of your favorite tile placement games?
Surprisingly, usually I struggle to come up with 5 or 6, but I couldn't stop.
And I was surprised. I was like, oh, okay. So we're not doing 10. We're limited. We're doing 10, but we're going to do 5 from me and 5 from Alicia. And we'll fire off some honorable mentions at the end of the video. So, of course, we're talking about our favorite tile placement games. All right, so without wasting any time, let's get right to it.
Okay.
So what's your, ladies first?
So the first game I want to talk about, number 5, is Land versus Sea.
You went old school.
So Land versus Sea is the only one-on-one game that I am going to talk about.
Now this game actually goes to 4-player, but it's really 1 versus 1.
So first of all, it looks like a giant jigsaw puzzle to me. So that's one thing I like about it. Also, it when you're done, you have constructed this great looking map. I love maps. But basically, in the game, one person is playing as land and one person is playing as sea. And the objective of the land player is to create enclosed areas of land. The objective of the sea player is to create enclosed areas of sea. And most of the pieces have a little bit of both, have some land and some sea. So you have to be strategic in how you place
Yep,
pieces.
you're drafting these tiles, and they're double-sided, so you can choose which side to put down. And like I said, you're going to create an enclosed area of land if you're the land player. And then if you do that, then you get 1 point per hexagon tile that's involved in that enclosed area. The thing is, there are these little X's on the board, these little crosses, and there's some are in the water, some are in the land. And so you get to score bonus points for the number of X's that's out on the map. The thing about it, let's say Alicia, she's playing as sea, I'm playing as land. It is advantageous for her to enclose an area of land for me because she gets those bonus points for the X's that's in that land, and I will just get the points for the land. If I enclosed it, I would get both the points for the hexagon tiles in the enclosed land and those X's. And the cool thing, there's also tiles that let you take another turn, or there are tiles that let you steal a tile from the other player. You went old school. We ain't played that game in a while, and
Yes.
I love that game.
Yeah.
Well, so my number 5 is a game. It's Planet Unknown.
Okay.
Okay? And I know people are thinking like Planet Unknown is their favorite. Wait till you hear about the other games. So Planet Unknown is a tile placement game where you have a planet in front of you and you're drafting tiles from this lazy Susan that's in the middle of the table, and you're placing it on your planet. You're trying to fill up all the spaces on your planet. And you also have this track, you know, that you where you the tiles that you draft, you go up on these specific tracks, and there's civilization, there's biomass, there's tech, stuff like that, and there's moving your Land Rover. And so as you're placing these tiles, there's also these meteorites that will appear on your based on the tile that you draft. And so you're moving a Land Rover to try to collect those meteorites and move them off the board. Now, the cool thing about this game is it's simultaneous play. Like I said, the tiles that you're drafting is in a lazy Susan. And so the active player is going to turn the lazy Susan, that section, they're going to draft the tile, and then the other players have to draft the tile from the section that's facing them. You know, so I really love Planet Unknown. That satisfying filling up your world. You know, I really enjoy that game.
I remember playing that game.
Yeah, I know space is not your favorite thing, but you know, you played it with me. I really enjoyed it. I've introduced this to people. So, well, okay. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is New York Zoo, which I'm pretty sure is a Uwe Rosenberg game.
It is.
So, honestly, I like the theme of New York Zoo. You're building out a zoo. You're going around and you're selecting tiles or you're selecting animals. And if you pass two animals, I can't remember the specific how it works, but if you pass 2 adult animals, you get to mate, and so you get a third.
You get to procreate.
You reproduce, so you get a third animal of that kind in your enclosure.
Yeah, so the tiles represent enclosures that you put in your zoo, and then the animals, there's like there's the flamingo, there's the penguin, and then there's the meerkat, and there's the
White
wolf,
fox, the
Arctic fox. And you're going to place them in those enclosures. But there are areas on the board that when you pass that area, if it passes a specific animal type and you have a pair of animals in one of those enclosures, then you will...
Those animals reproduce, and so you get to have a third animal.
Yeah, and you're trying to fill up the enclosures because there are certain attractions that you can grab and put into your zoo, and the object is to be the first to fill up your complete
grid,
board. You know,
grid.
Yeah, New York Zoo. That is a really fun game. I like the little elephant meeple that you use to go around the board.
Yes.
That's really cool. The meeples are really, really nice in that game.
Yes.
All right, so my number 4 is World Wonders.
Oh, okay.
Now, there was another one that I would have put on this list from the same publisher, but I said I'm going to limit it. But I picked World Wonders because in World Wonders, you are drafting these tiles that represent like residential areas. There's the church.
There's a library.
Market, library, and then there's the farm. And you're placing them on your board. The thing is, you're paying for these tiles. So you start each round with like $7. And then you start paying for these tiles, or you paying for streets. Now, the cool thing about it is there are these world wonders that, you know, like the pyramids of Egypt, the
statues of Eastern Island.
Yeah, there's so many different world wonders. And you're trying to fill up your board. Now, to gain these world wonders, there are certain requirements. You might have to have like 2 church tiles or 2 market tiles on your board in order to gain these world wonders. Thing is, world wonders cost the rest of your money. So there's a push your luck element. So like, let's say you've matched the requirements to get those pyramids, but you notice that somebody else has those requirements. So do you wait and try to get some more stuff out on your board because you're trying to fill up your board to gain as many points? Or do you spend the rest of your money? So it could be $7, it could be $1. Spend the rest of your money and you get that wonder, and now you're out for the round.
Yes.
You know, I really, really love this game. I love the way the board looks when you're finished with it. You know, you have certain wonders that's from opposite sides of the world next to each other on your
Yes.
board. It is so this was like probably the first game we got when we went to our first full Gen Con. Our friend picked it up for us, and we got there, and here it is, and that game sold out. World Wonders is beautiful. I really love that game.
Yes.
All right, so what's your number 3?
So my number 3 is Planet. I like Planet because it's a unique tile placement game. Because you have a little, it's not a ball, it's like a hexagon shaped 3D figure. And you're placing your tiles on this ball. So it's on this structure. So essentially, you're creating your own little globe.
Yes.
It is I love it. And after I think about 3 turns, you also start paying attention. There's a whole array of animals that come out, and there are different habitats. There's grassland, there's mountain, there's desert, and you're trying to meet a certain secret objective when you're constructing your planet, but you're also trying to attract the animals to the habitats based on what you play in that specific round. So you have a couple of competing objectives, and it's a lot of fun.
It is. Like some of those animals, whoever has the largest desert that's next to a mountain, or whoever has the largest forest that's nowhere near glacier, you know, whoever has that, they would gain that animal card, and those animals will score them points at the end of the game.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I remember when I first heard about Planet, I knew you were gonna you loving geography and stuff like that. I knew you was gonna love Planet.
Yes.
So I had to pick that up for you.
Yes.
All right. So my number 3 is Calico.
Oh, really?
Yes, Calico. Okay. I know you thought that was going to be higher up, but it's my number 3. So in Calico, you are drafting tiles to create this quilt, you know, and there's different patterns in the quilt, and you're trying to meet these. Like there's the design goals that's out on the board, and the design goals you might need the same pattern around it, or a pair of 3 different patterns surrounding this tile there, like hexagon. And then also, if there's the patterns, if you get 3 of the same pattern together, you get to attract, the same color. You get to grab a button and put it on your quilt, which will score points. And then there's these cats that they're looking for certain shapes of patterns, you know. And there's 2 different patterns they're looking for. But if you create that shape, then you get to attract that cat, and that's going to score points. You know, this game is beautiful with art by Beth Sobel. You know, this game is really crunchy, especially towards the end, because as you're putting those tiles out into your quilt, now your choices get very limited.
Yes, your options tighten up. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I really like Calico.
I like Calico too.
All right. So what's your number 2?
So my number 2 is a crossover. My number 2 is World Wonders. I like World Wonders for all the reasons Dwayne said. I love at the end how you get to sit back and look at what you have built in this game.
Yeah, it is nice. Like those wooden pieces are really, really nice. And we got the expansion that introduces some more World Wonders. I think the Sphinx is in there.
Okay.
The Sphinx, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm dying to play with that expansion. Okay. Now, my number 1 and number 2 was really hard. It was so hard. But I'm going to stick with this.
Okay.
Okay. My number 2 is Barenpark.
All right. So Barenpark was on my short list.
Yes. Okay. Now, Barenpark is pretty much simple tile placement.
Yes.
You're trying to build up, and you know I love my bears. You know.
Yogi Bear, Fozzie Bear, Build-A-Bear?
You're trying to build up your zoo, your Barenpark rather, and you start with a tile, and when you place a tile out onto your grid, then whatever you cover up dictates what other tile you get to gain. So if you cover up the green wheelbarrow, you get to grab like a bathroom or a food court or a playground or whatever. If you cover up the cement truck, then you get to grab a specific enclosure. Like for the bears, I think there's koala bears, there's goby bears,
there's
pandas, and I forgot what the 4th bear is. But but anyway, you're filling up the grid pretty much, and then also if you cover the construction site, you get to add another tile or grid to your zoo, and you get up to 4 tiles, and you're building up your zoo. And if you fill up one of those tiles completely, you get a bear statue, and the bear statues are in descending points. So if you're the first to get a bear statue, you'll get the bear statue with the most points and place it in your park. And I really like it because it's just that simple. It's
straight up tile placement.
It's just straight up tile placement, and that's why I love. And it's about bears. Now, one thing I gotta mention. So, and this one made it almost number 1. Nick Murphy over at the Brothers Murph. If you haven't watched their channel, go subscribe. They know they way about board games or whatever. But Nick Murphy did a video where he took Barenpark and he plays this video game called Planet Zoo. And he recreated his Barenpark in this video game.
Oh, wow.
And it looks amazing.
Oh, wow.
Now, I know you say, like, I can't be using amazing for all the time, but I'll use phenomenal. I'm sitting there watching the video as he takes a tour through this whole park. My mouth dropped open because he painstakingly paid attention to every detail. And I'm going to leave a link in the description below so you can go check out that video. But it was awesome.
I have to check that video out.
Yeah, Nick, I applaud you. That I know that took a lot of work, but that was a great video. Okay. All right, so what's your number 1?
No surprise. Cascadia. I love Cascadia. Cascadia is in my top 10 board games. I love the theme. I love how you get to pick an animal and place them on the terrain, but you're also building out your terrain. So you have animals, and then you have terrains, and you're picking one of each turn. And there's a mechanism in the game that allows you to mix and match, but basically,
because they're paired up. And they're paired up. So if you get that terrain, you have to get that animal at the same time.
So the tension of building out the different terrains and placing all the animals strategically is a lot. I love that tension. It's from the same makers of Calico.
Yes.
But it's not as tight as Calico because since you're building out, you can always place something. Whereas in Calico, it can get pretty tight.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Calico can get real tight at the end, but with Cascadia, you're trying to score the largest terrains, and you're trying to score, like, there's these cards that represents the animals, the red-tailed hawk, the grizzly bear,
The salmon.
yeah, she always goes the salmon route. I know every time we play, she goes the salmon route.
The elk.
Yeah, the elk and the fox.
Yes.
Yeah, and they have to be in a certain way, like
In a certain configuration.
Yes. Now, the art in this game is also done by Beth Sobel.
It is
It's-
breathtaking.
Yes, it is. All right. Well, I always try to go the grizzly bear route when I play Cascadia. So, my number one, my number one is the Grand Carnival.
Okay, I remember that.
The Grand Carnival is you're building up your own carnival. And what I like about it is it's a two-tier tile placement game where first you're placing the foundation. And on the foundation, it has the open grass, the green areas, and then there's these hammers. And so you have to construct attractions onto the hammers. So now you're trying to place those foundations in a way on your board to fit the attractions. And you're drafting the attractions, placing them out on the board. And then you're also moving patrons into your park. And when you move a patron and it stops at an attraction, you get to place tickets on that attraction. So you start getting points for the tickets. And if you're trying to move your patrons up to the big top or whatever, and then there's times where if you start with 2 patrons, you move them in the park, you get 2 more patrons, and then you got a barker. I think that's what they call him. The guy that like, extra, step right up, check out the bearded lady or whatever, you know. And I mean, the components of this game is amazing.
They are cute. Those tickets are adorable.
And, you know, everybody has their own different pawns, and how you select those actions, you have 1 through 5. And so if you move a pawn, you take a level 5 action. So you'll grab the foundation tile from the 5 space, or you get an attraction that covers 5 spaces, or it dictates how far the patron will move through your park, you know. And so this game is so much fun. I love the art. It has a quirky, like Cuphead, old school Mickey Mouse art to it. I love it. And it was hard for me, you know, but, you know, Barenpark, I really love it. But Grand Carnival, I just love that extra crunchiness of trying to place both those types of tiles.
Okay.
You know. Now, like we said, this was hard.
It was challenging.
This was challenging.
To limit.
Yes.
To limit.
So, do you want to fire off 3 of your honorable mentions?
So, 2, because one of my honorable mentions was Barenpark.
Oh, okay.
So the other 2 was Suburbia. I love this game. I love the theme. It's a city building game. And also Quadropolis, which is another city building game.
Yeah, that was one of the first games I got her, you know, to play. One of the first, like,
yes,
in the top 10 before we got into double-digit plays.
Yes.
You know. So for me, there was, like I said, Foundations of Rome.
Yes, that was a great
because it is technically Foundations of Rome is a tile placement game. It's just overproduced
tile.
My
the production of this game.
And they released Foundations of Metropolis to like for so it could just to make it more accessible at a cheaper value.
Okay.
You know. And then there's Remember Our Trip, which is one of my favorite Sashi and Sashi games, where you're trying to recall the trip you took to Japan.
Wasn't that your first Sashi and Sashi game?
That was my first Sashi and Sashi game that I purchased, Remember Our Trip. And what was my other one? Oh, I forgot what my other one was. So, but I apologize for that. Maybe it'll pop up in my head in a minute. But like I said, those are our favorite tile play. Oh, Pandoria.
Okay.
I remember now. Pandoria is actually in my top 20 games of all time. You know. So those are our favorite tile placement games.
What are some of your favorite tile placement games?
Yeah.
Put them in the comments below.
Yeah, and I hope you enjoyed this video. We had fun putting this list together. If you like the contents of this video, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, or Blue Sky.
I'm Dwayne.
I'm Alicia.
This has been Blackboard Gaming.
We will see you next time.
Bye.